Making your own lures and tweaking your own lures is part of the fun that goes along with fishing. This week, we're going to do both. Several lures really stood out for us last year as far as being reliable fish catchers, and a bladed jig was definitely one of them. Now, before I build a bladed jig, there's one thing that I always take into consideration, and that is the size of the split ring. There's two split rings that I usually use when I build a bladed jig. One is a size 3 and one is a size 4. The smaller size split ring, the size 3, I will add to either a 3-ounce or a 1/2-ounce lure if I want the bait to hunt a lot more. I want it being a lot more erratic. That's when the size 3 split ring really comes into play. Now, when I want the bait to stay more inline, maybe in the early part of the season, when the water's a little bit colder, or I just want a little bit more subtle action, then I will use a size 4 split ring. Remember, your trailer also makes a difference as well. Now, I can tell you about all the different trailers that we use. The best thing for you to do is to go out and practice and see what works best for you. You're going to become a better angler, not just by building some of your own lures, but by experimenting with them and seeing what works best for you. Now, this combination that we came up right here that I'm going to build is a 1/2-ounce bladed jig with a new skirt that Lure Parts Online has called a Sexy Bluegill. But instead of just telling you about it, I'm going to show you. Check this out. Holy cow. You know, I've been telling people how great it is to make your own baits. Come here. Oh my goodness, look at that one. And this is on a bladed jig I made from Lure Parts Online. You want to see a fish. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh God, that's a big one there. That's a big one there. Oh. Come here. Come here, look at that. That is with that new Sexy Bluegill skirt. The best way is your way. You want to catch more bigger fish, make your own bait. All right, so the first thing we're going to do when we build this bladed jig is I like putting the skirt on first. And again, this is the Sexy Bluegill skirt right here. And this is a 1/2-ounce head from Lure Parts Online, and this is just a shad colored head, okay? And I match my stuff up. So first of all, I want to wet the head up a little bit. That'll have the hook slide over easier over the skirt, just like so. The nice thing about these skirts from Lure Parts is that once they're on, as you'll see here, these are not going to come off. They actually fold in around or hug that offset that we have in this jig head, and that's one of the reasons we made it this way. So now, when you have the skirt on here, if you ever have to bang it on the water to get grass off or something, you're not going to have the skirt constantly pulling down. Once this skirt is on here, it's here to stay. All right, so now we're going to assemble the blade parts. This is actually a bluegill colored blade, and it matches real good with that skirt. And I'm going to take the clasp. This is a 25-pound clasp, and how I'm going to do it is I'm going to insert it on the bottom. Okay, that clasp, if there's 3 holes, let me show you this better way. There's 3 holes right here. This is where the split ring is going to go. This is the bottom hole where, or the next hole up, where the clasp is going to go in, and then it's going to enter out here. So I'm going to take this, put it in that way. Then I'm going to turn this over, and the easiest way I found to do this is to hold the clasp there, take a long nose pliers, and push it into the hole. There you go. Now I'm going to turn this over, hold the clasp, take the pliers again, and push it through, and there is the clasp inside the blade, okay? Now, I said we were going to use a size 4 split ring, and that's right there. The easiest way that I have found to do this is take a split ring pliers and open this up, okay? And I'm going to move the pliers back a little bit on here so I have some room for the blade to slide in easier and get it through there. Now I'm going to take the long nose pliers again, and we're going to move that, just turn it around, make a circle on it, so to speak, just like that. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick. Very rarely does it happen, but it does occasionally. This split ring went on really good. Sometimes if they bend, to make it go back to a perfect circle, because that's where you're going to have the strongest integrity for that split ring, is take your pliers and press down on it where you see the bend. When you do that, it will straighten that back out and you'll have a stronger split ring. Okay, now that we have both sides, is what I call it, of the bait built, the jig head part and the blade part, now I'm just going to separate the split ring, and I'm just going to slide that right through there, okay? And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to turn. That's all you're going to do, is you're going to turn that split ring. And there you go. That right there now is your 1/2 ounce bladed jig. All right. Now the nice thing about having a split ring here is a lot of times you will get that clacking off that bait, because that blade will go back and forth. You'll end up getting wear spots. Even though this paint job on here is really good, you'll know that it's banging off that head, making some noise, because you'll start getting wear spots after a while here. That's fine. Then you just know that that thing's making noise and doing what it's supposed to. But that right there, when it was relatively clear water last year, this is one of the baits that I really, really like to throw. This segment of Jim Crowley Outdoors is brought to you by these and other fine sponsors. As always, topwaters played a part in our game last year, and I love catching smallmouth on topwaters. And I'm actually going to show you how to make the Storm Chug Bug, which has been a reliable bait for years, give you a couple tweaks on this bait. And these suggestions actually came from my buddy Jeremiah Burrish, who's a very successful kayak tournament angler up in the La Crosse, Wisconsin area. And he showed me what he does with his Chug Bug. I tried it, it worked great, and now we're going to show it to you. And one of the tweaks involves replacing the standard treble hook with the new hybrid bladed treble from VNC. Okay, this should not only be a really cool tweak for you, it's also going to show you how to keep from being stuck. All right, I hold the treble hook this way, so it is anchored really good between my 3 fingers. I'm going to take the split ring here, the split ring pliers, and I'm going to grab that split ring, and I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to start the hook going on that split ring. Now, so you don't have to use the split ring pliers again until you go to another hook, I'm going to take the bladed treble, hold it the same way. I'm actually going to get it inside that split ring. We're going to turn it this way. Now you see I have the hook anchored here and this one away from me. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the pliers and we're going to turn. Always do this so you know where that hook's going to drop off. Keep turning, and there you've just successfully changed the split ring. Okay? Now also on the Chug Bug, I take off, now the little tinsel tail works on the back, and I've already changed this one, but I take that tail off, I do it the same way that I did on this blade, and I replace it with the feathered tail back here. When you're walking the Chug Bug, especially for smallmouth, whenever I'm fishing for smallmouth, hybrid stripers, white bass, or pure stripers on a topwater, I always use a feathered treble. I don't know why that works as good as it does, but over the years it always has. So without question, when I'm fishing, especially for smallmouth, I'm putting a feathered treble, and VMC has a great feathered treble on the back. You can use the red and white ones, you can use the all white ones. I've always liked the white, or I just try to match the bait with this. Now that is going to be my tweak on the Chug Bug. Now when you're walking that bait or chugging it, that little blade on the bottom is going to flash. It's another form of attraction. Topwaters can be so effective for smallmouth, as I'm sure a lot of you know, but these tweaks by adding the little bladed treble on the front and that feather on the back makes an already good bait, which was the Chug Bug, even better. Now Storm has another great bait out there that is kind of like a step up from this one, called the Chug Bug Mad Flash, and that has got some awesome colors. It's got and it's got a feathered tail on the back too. But if you just want to upgrade some of the chug bugs that you already have, this is just a great way to do it with that bladed treble and with that feather. Now, something you should know about this bladed treble, that is VMC's new hybrid hook, and the points actually bend in just a little bit. This has got the hooking percentage on these is absolutely incredible. I'm actually switching a lot of my topwater walking baits. The hooks that VMC have on those topwaters are already good. This new hybrid treble hook has pretty much raised the bar as far as treble hooks go. Once they get locked up on here, they're not coming off. So that is just a nice little tweak for the chug bug. Now I'm going to show, since we're talking topwaters a little bit for smallmouth, I'm going to show you two of my other favorites. It's actually the same lure in two different sizes. This is probably one of my all-time favorite topwater baits, and when Rapala came out with this several years ago, the Skitter V, it actually has a nice V bottom on the back like a boat. So it rides waves really, really good. This is one of my favorite colors. This is in bone chartreuse. It's just a good all-around size. This is a size 9. I've caught some big largemouth on this as well, and just like with the other baits that I concentrate on for smallmouth, I'm going to add a bladed treble on the back there too. Now, just because smallmouth has the name small in its name, don't think you can't throw large lures for smallmouth. That's a reason a lot of musky anglers catch big smallmouth when they're throwing big jerk baits. Smallmouth are curious and aggressive by nature. When you feel you can get away with it, this is the size 13 in the Skitter V. This is just a bone orange color, and I've upgraded to all the hybrid trebles on here. This, when you get a bite on this, this is not for the shy of heart, so to speak. This will darn near give you a heart attack when they blow up on this thing. Rest assured, when they do, it's probably going to be a big smallmouth. So 3 top waters. If you like fishing for smallmouth, just like most people I'm sure do, I know it's my favorite fish, go with the size 9, size 13 of the Skitter V, and don't leave out the chug bug. This segment of Jim Crowley Outdoors is brought to you by these and other fine sponsors. Like we kind of talked about before, a good long nose pliers with a good gripping surface inside there is always going to be good when you want to hold hooks, when you want to bend wires. Long nose pliers just always good to have with you. Scissors whenever you want to cut or trim skirts. One of the easiest ways when you build lures to be even more efficient on the water is if you know exactly how you want your lures to be, and you will after doing this for some time. You're going to know, I want my skirts this length, etc. Cut them now. Do them while you're building these lures, and then put them in your tackle boxes. That way when you're out on the water, you don't have to be digging through stuff. Oh, I got to cut this skirt, or I got to bend that hook out. You already have it ready. Time is money when it's on the water. I don't care if you're fishing a tournament or if you're just out having fun. Get the stuff ready ahead of time. Organization is a key to success. Having a pair of pliers really goes a long way, and it can help you being organized, having all your baits ready. Now, I actually keep one of these split ring pliers not only here in the studio, but I always have one in my boat. Sometimes you may have a split ring that needs to be replaced, or you want to change blades. Or just add another treble hook or replace a treble hook, whatever. Split ring pliers is always good. I have a bag in my boat that I just keep long nose pliers, scissors, and split ring pliers. It's something that you can always have handy and something that you can always use to help you get ready ahead of time. Get out of the grass. My goodness, he dove in the grass on me. Oh, come here, come here. Ugh. Yeah. There you go. Man, they are eating it now. They are eating it. Come here. Yeah. Man, that's fun. When you start running spinnerbaits through the grass like this, what they're doing is, like we said, they're just chasing shad. They're feeding up. And when we were talking about this spinnerbait before, I throw a twist wire. It's not an R-bend. And there's a reason for that. One is that the line never slips down in case you're pulling it out of grass like that. And sometimes that can really happen, and the line slips up and you got a chance of cutting off the bait. The other thing is, we fish a lot of northern waters. So, there's pike in there and sometimes walleyes and big catfish that'll hit these little spinnerbaits. And with that twist bend in there, you just save a lot more spinnerbaits, especially for you guys fishing up Wisconsin and Mississippi River and you got dogfish hitting your spinnerbaits. At least you got a chance of saving it with the twist wire. And I really don't think you lose that much vibration on it. Just depends how you build the bait. spinnerbait. But those little twist wires, they just last you a long time and catch you a lot of fish. Just about every bass fisherman has spinnerbaits in their box. They've been a useful tool to catch fish for years. And the lure that I want to cover now is a new little spinnerbait frame that we came out with last year called the Stiletto. The idea for the Stiletto spinnerbait frame came from knowing that anywhere you go across the country, there's going to be small bait fish that bass are going to prey upon. Also wanted a frame that anglers could use to build a lure that they can just go out and catch fish anywhere with. In a small profile like this, they made it in a 1/4 and 3/8 ounce size. Now this is the one I'm going to build today, is a 1/4 ounce, and I use that when I'm trying to stay over the top of weeds, when I know it could be a little bit tougher bite and I want to downsize. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the skirt to this. Now we put a twist wire in this design because a lot of our anglers up north have to deal with either dogfish or pike, and we wanted a spinnerbait that was going to stay together and was not going to be torn up after just one of those two fish. So that's why we got the twist wire. So now I am going to take the skirt that I like to throw the best on this, and as usual we make a ton of skirts, but this one is called Blue Ghost, and I really like it. It's got a lot of blue and black flake in the top. It's silver white on the bottom, just like a bait fish, and so that's what I'm always going to match my skirt for. I'm going to make sure the darker part of the skirt is on top, the lighter part of the skirt is on the bottom. So again, I'm going to wet up the area where the skirt slides on here, and I'm just going to slide that skirt over and put it right up on there. Now same as before, these skirts are meant, once they're on, to stay on there. You can slap this on the water. Again, you can see how nice these skirts hold on right in front of the bait keeper and right behind the head, so that skirt is not going to come off. When it's on, it's on. I love this skirt design. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick right away that I do. If you notice, and every single spinnerbait on the market just about has a hook directly in line with the eye tie. And that works. That catches fish. I'm going to show you how to make it a little bit better. And what I do is I take the long nose pliers right in the bend, and I bend that hook up just a little bit. I want that angle going from straight on to just up slightly. The reason being is now when a fish comes down on it, that hook is going to catch immediately farther back in the fish's face. I'm going to get a better and stronger hooking percentage just by that little tweak. All right, so the blades I'm putting on here, these are the Miramax blades. There is a lot of reflection and flash that comes off these blades. I'm going to use a regular nickel one, and then I'm going to finish it off with the hybrid blade, which is half gold and half silver. This puts off a really unique flash under the water. Instead of a constant flash, it's actually like a flash, flash, flash. It's a really nice combination, and in my mind, really gives that bait fish appeal. So let's put this together. We're going to take the clevis here and take the front blade. And I'm going to put the clevis through the front blade, and then I'm going to take the frame, and we're going to thread that right through here. So that's your first blade, and that's how you want it on. You want the rounder part of the surface facing toward the bend in the wire. That way that blade is going to rotate the correct way. Now I'm going to use spacers or a spacer on the spinnerbait. This is about a 1/2 inch spacer, okay? And you can adjust it however you want. But the first thing I do is I put a bead on. And the reason I put that bead on is because now the clevis is going to be able to spin more freely against the spacer. If I just put it against a spacer, the blade would rub up against that rougher surface and it wouldn't spin as well. So that's how I got it right there. First clevis, then bead, then spacer. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put another bead on there. And that's going to complete the first part of the setup. The next thing we're going to do is bend that wire and install that final blade. I'm going to put the wire approximately about right there. Now I'm going to bend this around as much as I can, right like so, and then I'm going to take this and bend this up, okay, about right there. And yes, like I said, there's a tool that can do it, in some cases a little bit better, but this will work for what we're going to do, and the blade is going to spin. Now, after I put the swivel on that blade, I am now just going to take this and slip it right through there. Just want to bring it up a little bit. There you go. That's it. Now, that blade is going to be locked on there. And that right there is your completed spinnerbait. Now that little 1/4 ounce head is going to be a perfect representation of bait fish anywhere you go in the country. Man, did he hit that thing hard. Where the heck is he? Come on up here. Whoa! Man. Yeah, that's a good fish there. Oh, man. Oh, come here. Come here, come here, come here. Don't jump, don't jump. Come here. Oh, now that is a good way to end the day. I love that little stiletto spinnerbait. Oh my goodness, that is just fun. What a pretty looking fish that is. Oh man, we had a good time today. I hope we showed you, let's put this one back here. You go. I hope we showed you how effective these little spinnerbaits can be. And the best way is your way. Make your own. Oh man, absolutely just love this thing. And that's those little hybrid blades that we talked about. Just a fantastic, fantastic fall bait. You want to find out more of those, just go to Lure Parts online. Hey, thanks so much for joining us this week. We're going to be on the road somewhere, someplace, hopefully with another great adventure. Until then, God bless you. I'm Jim Crowley. We'll see you soon.